All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga. Last Thursday in the month of September 2024, we've been doing a little bit more yin-style poses this month to relax tight muscle groups, and what we're focusing on is the hips. So I have a yoga block, a couple of blankets that I'm going to use to help support my hips after hip replacement. That might be something that you would like as well. So we're going to warm the hips up, kind of get the synovial fluid flowing in the joint, just kind of see how our hips are feeling, if they're being cranky today or kind of relaxed and loose after we warm them up a bit. Then we're going to take some relaxing holding poses. When I say relaxing, you don't necessarily need to push these all the way to your edge where you're feeling that stretch that you can only hold for a few seconds. I want you to find a stretch that you can hold for maybe a couple of minutes. Speaking of that, I'm going to grab my little clock here because I want to make sure that we're even on each side as we do these poses. Okay, so we're going to start on our back. I'm going to bring my little blankets over to the side here. So get yourself comfortable down onto your back, any props kind of within reach of you. I always have to figure out how to best get down on the floor with those incisions still a little sensitive. All right, let's see. I don't want those blocking my body, but I want to be able to reach them. Maybe I'll go over here. All right, so let's start on our back, and you can just bend your knees for a bit and just settle in. Take a few deep breaths here. You can close your eyes if you'd like. And just kind of come into the present moment where you're not worried about anything you have to do today, anywhere you have to go, any place to be, just here. You've given yourself this gift of time taking care of your body, a little bit of self-care today. A couple more deep breaths. All right, let's slide our right leg out toward the mat. Now, if you have some lower back issues for this warm up, I want you to keep your left knee bent with your foot on the floor. If you're feeling pretty strong in your lower back, that leg can also straighten out. But if your back starts to feel odd here, go ahead and rebend that knee and set your foot back down on the floor. So we'll take a nice big inhale, stretch the arms up, reach. Send your leg long on the mat, and then as you exhale, pull that knee up into your chest, and you can do a little bit of an abdominal curl. So we're stretching the glute area, and then we'll inhale, reach. Exhale to pull it up. Now, the next time you do that, I want you to pull that knee out toward the right armpit a little bit. So I'm going to rotate my leg a little bit and pull the knee out, or maybe toward the shoulder, and my ankles toward the inside a bit. And we'll do 3 of those. So 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull that knee to the outside of the body. And 1 more. And now we'll pull it across to the inside of the body just a little bit. So we'll bring it across. So I'm slightly bringing that knee, so opening up the side of the hip. And 2 more. And if your neck's starting to get tired, you don't have to curl your head up. Last one. And then just relax your head and shoulders down, setting that foot to the floor. We'll slide our left leg out long on the mat. So this is my most recent hip flexor. So I'm going to go nice and slow on this side. We'll breathe in. You can have both legs long as well. Breathe out and pull that knee right up to the front of the chest. We'll do 2 more straight up the middle. And one more. My knee or my hip's not liking that really well, so I'm just going to keep it small here. And then 3 times to the outside. So inhale, bring that knee to the outside of the left shoulder. Inhale long. Outside of the shoulder. One more. Hey, we're getting some core work too if we're doing that little crunch. Okay, 3 times across to the inside. Exhale, bring it across. Lengthen the leg long. I'm just setting my foot down on the mat, bent knee. Across the body, 2. And one more across. And then just set that foot down to the mat. Bring your feet close together. We're going to do little butterfly wings. So we'll roll to the outside of our feet and let our knees open and close. Just gentle movement here. I'm actually pleased at how much range of motion I have in both hips this way. Those of you that remember before the first hip replacement, I couldn't do this on the right side hardly at all. So this feels nice to have a little bit more mobility. And hopefully I'll get some more yet. Let's do one more. And close in. Great, knees hug up toward the chest. So your feet are going to stay together as we do an egg beater circle. So hands are on your knees. You're going to separate your knees like little butterfly wings, then press your knees away from your body, close your knees together and come back in. So basically you're doing circles around in your hips, the knees moving out, forward and around and back in. We'll go 2 more this direction. Keep your abs engaged. If your lower back is bothersome, make these pretty small. Then come in and pause. We'll reverse. Press the knees away from you. Keep your feet together as you separate your knees and come around the circle. We'll do about 6 this direction. Just lubricating those hip joints, creating warmth in the muscles. And one more time. And hug knees to chest. Okay, good old windshield wipers. So separate your feet and your knees pretty wide. Drop both knees over to the right. And then both knees over to the left. So basically, when we go to the right knee is opening outward, the left knee is rotating slightly in. So it's 2 different little stretches for the hips. And it's a little slight twist through the waist, so that should feel pretty good for your spine. 2 more each direction. And 1 more each side. And then just come back to center. Walk your feet back in parallel neutral. And we are going to do tree pose laying on our back. So the right knee will be the bent knee. The left leg will be the straight. So let's slide our left leg out straight on the mat. And this right knee is going to open as far as you can without rolling over to your right side. Now here's where I'm going to be using my little blanket here to support this knee so that my hip doesn't overstretch. I want to feel it just a little bit because I still have new hips, but you guys can, feel a little bit more of a stretch there, but something that we can hold. And we're going to be here for 2 minutes. I'm going to set my little timer. 2 minutes. So I just want you to relax into this and breathe. Try not to tense anywhere in your hips. You can do anything you want with your arms, maybe reach them above the head like you would do a tree pose if you were standing on the ground, standing on that left foot. You can relax arms at side or at abdomen or out like a T. So we're going to do 3 PNF stretches. Stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitated. So what we want to do in order to release the tension in the groin and inner thigh on that right side is we're going to press the knee down toward the floor just by activating your muscles. And we're just going to hold it for a count of 3. So get ready, take a breath in. Exhale, press your leg out, holding 3, 2, 1, and then relax that. We'll do that 2 more times. Press and start. 1, 2, 3, and relax. 1 more time. Press. Hold 1, 2, 3, and then relax. So that just sends a little muscle or a message to the brain from the muscle and back that causes you to be able to relax a little deeper. So we have 15 seconds to hold our stretch. If you're watching later on YouTube, you can hit pause and hold this as long as you want. All right, last breath in. And close that knee in. And we'll rebend the extended leg. Takes me a second. All right, great. If you want a little rock, a little side to side, take a moment if you're using your prop to bring it to the other side. I'm going to need a little higher stack here for this hip, I think. So we'll slide the right leg out straight and then let your left knee drop open. And then realign your hips. So when we open that knee out to the side, it's really easy to kind of roll over that direction. So align your hips really well. And then I'll restart our 2-minute timer. Just kind of noticing any differences you feel from one side to the other here. If you're pretty open in your hips, you might be able to lay that left leg all the way to the floor. And then we'll take our 3 PNF stretches. So let's inhale to prepare. Exhale, push the leg out and down to the floor or to your prop, holding 3, 2, 1, and relax. Ready? And push. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Last one and push. 3, 2, 1, relax. All right, finish that stretch. Just soften anything in your body that you're feeling is maybe tensing up. Check in the muscles of your shoulders and neck, upper back, even into your face. Make sure you're not squinting your eyes or tensing up your forehead, making little wrinkles there. Relax your jaw. And we've got 30 seconds on this side. Nice slow breaths. All right, one more deep breath in. And exhale, we'll close that knee inward and then slide that right leg up so both knees are bent again. You can take some little movements here. Maybe hug knees into chest if you're feeling any tension in your lower back. So now we get to open both legs at the same time. So I have 2 blankets, one on each side to support. So we go soles of the feet together, opening the knees out like a butterfly, restarting our timer. All right, check in, make sure that feels okay, which is what I'm doing. If I need to close my knees together sooner than 2 minutes, I'm going to do that, but you guys continue to go. Okay, let's try our 3 PNF contractions. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push out and down toward the floor. 3, 2, 1, release. Now, this doesn't have to be really intense. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're maybe pushing out at a 3 to 4. Okay, let's inhale, prepare. Exhale, push. Notice the muscles that are contracting in your glutes. And release. One more time, breathe in, prepare. Breathe out, push. 3, 2, 1, and then relax the muscles completely. All right, 45 seconds, just staying in this pose. Breathing and relaxing. The last 15 seconds. Last breath. And close those knees together. Great job. Any little movement that you need to do, hugging the knees up, stretching. So these are pretty brief holds in comparison to usual yin. Usually 2.5 minutes is kind of the low end, all the way up to maybe 5 minutes, which is a long time in some of these poses. So we're keeping it pretty brief today, but these are things that you can expand in your at-home practice. So we're going to do either figure 4 stretch, or if you'd like to roll over and do pigeon. I'm not going to attempt to demonstrate that today. So those of you that know what pigeon is and you like it and you want to do it, I'm going to leave that up to you to roll over and get ready to do pigeon. Otherwise, I'm going to probably also just talk you through figure 4 because I can't do it really well. I'm going to walk my legs further down, but you guys keep your legs bent about 90 degrees, and we'll pick up the right leg, rotate the ankle across the left thigh, and then this is all I'm going to be able to do. So I'm going to stay right here. But you guys can reach the legs and pull the knees toward your chest to get a really nice hip opener. So I'll give you a second to get there as I'm getting my clock started. So we're not going to do a PNF with this one. We're just going to do a hold. So beginning our 2 minutes. So this gets the deep external rotators of the hip. And if we're tight in that area, sometimes those muscles can impinge upon the sciatic nerve and cause problems with sciatica. So if that's something you've experienced in the past, this is a nice stretch for the piriformis muscle, other muscles as well. But the sciatic nerve kind of runs through the piriformis. So if it's tight, it's going to squeeze on that and cause some pressure on the nerve and some pain. So let's bring our awareness to our breathing. Take some nice deep breaths here. If you feel, and we're about at the halfway mark, if you feel you can go deeper, Then I want you to pull it in more. If you feel like you might have gone too deep at first and you need to back off, that's great. You can just push those legs away from you a little bit. And then just relax. 45 seconds. Last 15 seconds, maybe 2 more really slow, deep breaths. And then we'll relax back down, uncrossing that ankle, returning to our neutral position, taking any small movements. So if you're in pigeon, you can come out of that to maybe a child's pose or a downward dog, wherever you'd like to relax here. Okay, well, let's see what's going to happen on this other side for me. So I might not be able to do it at all. We're going to lift the left leg up. Well, I can do a little bit. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. And then you can pull those knees up to your chest. Settle in. 2 minutes. So it was said by the yogis of old that we can carry emotions in our hips. And it sounds strange. I don't know really how it works, other than if we have deep emotions within our internal self, sometimes it comes into our body some way. You know, if we're stressful, we get all tight, we might grip our hands, we might shrug our shoulders. And the yogis said that it goes down into our hips. And some of them thought that if we relaxed our hips, it would help us let go or release some of these emotions that we have inside of us. So, sometimes when people do deep hip openers, they feel a little sad or weepy. Sometimes they feel really joyful and happy, sometimes nothing at all. So it's not anything. If some feelings arise within you, just be accepting of that and let it roll, let it rip. There might be something to that. All right, 20 seconds, couple more deep breaths. All right, preparing to move. Very nice. And crossing that ankle. And maybe moving a little bit side to side. And then we'll come up to a seated position. So take your time to come on up. You might roll over to your side. I don't like to do that because I roll right on an incision. So come straight up. Good. So we did reclining tree, laying on our back. That way our body was in a straight line. Now that we're sitting up, we have flexion at the hip. So we're going to do a seated tree. So let's see. Let's do left leg straight. Right foot comes in toward the instep. And my leg is really up high on that bent knee. So I'm going to do a lot of support here to support that. Now, this is not necessarily a hamstring class. We worked on that, what was it, last week? I think so. So you don't need to fold forward. You can just let this hip open if you want, or we can stretch forward toward that extended leg. We have 2 minutes here, restarting the timer. I did not pull my yoga strap out, and I'm not going to go run grab it at the moment, but you can use your strap too under the bottom of that foot. So what's kind of neat about this position is there's a lot of things we can do with our upper body. So I can stretch forward this way toward the leg. I can turn my body and I can do a little side stretch. Ooh, I'm liking that one. That feels pretty good. We can also turn toward the bent knee and do a twist. All the while we're stretching through the inner thigh groin of this right hip. So during this 2 minutes, I want you to decide how you'd like to do this pose. And we're at the halfway mark. I'm feeling a little sensation that I don't like in my right back side of my hip. So I'm just going to sit straight up. Now, you could also do a PNF if you want. I'm not going to guide you through it, but it's another option where you can push this knee down and hold for your PNF. 30 seconds. And you're saying, Lisa, what did you say that stood for again? Proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitated stretching. It's usually used in physical therapy. Okay, last 15 seconds, 2 more deep breaths. Okay. Let's stop the timer and get reset on the other side. So our right leg will go straight. Let's see, left hip, what are you going to do for me? So you might be saying, well, how much do I bend this knee? It doesn't really matter. I can't bend it a lot. It's my knee replacement. So I kind of have mine right about at the level of my right knee. And I'm going to open that one out. I'm putting so much support here. I'm not feeling much of a stretch, but that's okay. I don't want to force this on this side. Let's go 2 minutes starting now. And again, we can stretch forward. Oh. We can turn side and do that little side stretch. Oh, that's good, good, good. We can twist toward the bent knee side. Or we can just sit straight up and relax. We can add that PNF in there too. So a big part of LisaBug classes is giving you tools. Because when we meet 1 or 2 times a week, depending on how many times you can come to class, you're building a foundation of what you can do on your own throughout the entire week. Because truly just these 2 workouts a week is pretty minimal for, really building strength and flexibility in our bodies and balance and all of that. So it's to give you these tools to learn about PNF, to understand the workings of the body so that you can really then guide that toward what you want to do in life. And that's what I love about what I do. So giving you the tools. All right, 30 seconds. Just a couple more breaths. And then we'll rise up, close that knee in, take any little movements that you want. Wiggle, wiggle. Okay, since we did it on our back, we have to do it sitting up too, which is our full butterfly or Baddha Konasana, which is the Sanskrit term that means bound angle pose. So I guess the knees are the angle and your feet together is the bind. So I'm going to support pretty darn good underneath those legs. Yeah, before the hip replacement on this side, it looked like this. I couldn't open that knee. I just did not have that mobility. Okay, so let's start the 2-minute timer. And you can just sit upright. You know, I like to do this one with my back against the wall. That's really nice. Then you can just really relax. Or you can start to shift it forward. Can't go far, but just a little bit. And you could certainly add a twist to one side for a couple of breaths, to the other side for a couple of breaths. So just decide what you want to do with your 2 minutes here. You could also add your PNF by pressing out and holding for 3 counts, or take it up to 5 and then releasing. For me, I'm just very chill. This is kind of a just basic stretch, and I'm not going to go any further than that. I don't have restrictions not to do this, but I just feel like the tissue and the healing is still too new, especially on this side, to get into a deep stretch. We haven't even been doing that in PT, so I think it's good just to make this very easy. So one of the yogis of old, his name was Patanjali, and he said, yoga should be easy and comfortable. There's been some poses that I felt are not easy and not very comfortable. But I think what he was saying is, you don't have to take everything to the nth degree. There's little progressions along the way. But we're getting older, the clock is ticking, so sometimes we progress through our practice and then we kind of regress a little bit, but it's where our body is today, which is a good mindset to have. Okay, that's 2 minutes right there. So let's come out of that pose and maybe do a couple little windshield wipers side to side, whatever feels good for you here. Now, if we go back and revisit figure 4 and pigeon, one of the cousins of that is called cradle the baby. And I'm probably not going to be able to demonstrate this very well, but I'm going to try. So we're going to straighten one leg. I'm going to try it on this hip because it's my first hip I had done. So I want you to open that out just like we had it. You're going to reach your hand under, pick your leg up, and rock side to side. So talking about regressing things, back in the day, I used to be able to do this with a bind. So I'm going to describe it to you because maybe you can do it. So when you bind, you take this arm around and this arm around the foot. So it would be up closer to me and I would be able to get my fingers to interlace right here. It's not a big deal, but it's just kind of a way that you can do it as an option. So we're just going side to side a bit. And then if you'd like to do half cow face, and I'm going to do my best to talk you through it, you're going to take this leg all the way across and try to, I'm actually doing it pretty good. You're going to try to stack your knees on top of each other. Oh man, I can't believe I can do that on this side. Okay, so you can hold it just like this. I'm going to start my 2-minute timer. We can fold forward. That's a pretty deep stretch. So some of you might be saying this just isn't good. Maybe you feel it in your knee. You can go back to just rocking side to side and then find a spot where you feel a stretch and just hold it rather than try to get in this position. Or even go back to that single side tree pose where the foot is here rather than across. We can add a twist each side. It's a great option. This is a really deep one to do the hamstring stretch. You know why? Because this leg is on top of this one, pushing it down. So it's making you have to straighten your leg, which really lengthens the hamstring. That's why this one is pretty challenging. Now you have a minute to go. I'm coming out. So I'm just going to come. Maybe I can come. I'll come to here. So I want you to enjoy the rest of the pose, but I don't want to kind of push the envelope a little bit with this one. I just got a tornado warning on my phone. My house is hopefully okay in Orlando. I don't think they're actually going to get much rain there, so that's good. Okay, 20 seconds, everybody. Couple more breaths, really deep, really slow, nice full exhalations, either through the nose or mouth. And we are there. Okay, very carefully unfold wherever you were in the pose. And let's see what happens on this side. So we come here, and then we can bring our hands right underneath. And we're going to try to rock this side to side. I'm going to do little baby ones. Yes. Okay. I'm not going to start the timer yet because we want to do this little action first. We did a few on the other side. And then we're just going to see if we can bring that across. I hear you guys saying, Lisa, I hear you. I hear you. I'm going to listen. So this is all I'm going to do on this side. But if you guys can get your knees to stack and bring that foot all the way across, that's half cow face. Well, what's full cow face? Full cow face is if the other leg is on the other side with the knee bent. Yep, can't show you that one. You can look it up. You can Google it. Okay, 2 minutes. All right. So then we take our choices. We can lean forward. We can twist. So I'm feeling not well in this position. So I'm going to come out and I'm just going to come here. Yes, it's called listening to your body. And whatever you decide to do in place of these poses is what your body needs today. So always feel, give yourself that internal approval and say, this is okay. I can't do this today. It's okay. I'll try again next time. You have about 45 seconds. Just check in, relax. And maybe you can deepen where you are in the pose. Maybe you come out like I did and just wait for the next one. That's okay. Two more deep breaths. And then start to make your way out of that pose. A little bit of moving around here and there. That's great. So I'm putting a blanket again on either side of my legs. So if this next stretch is too much for your hamstrings on your lower back, another good one you can go back to is one more butterfly. But if you'd like to try it, we're going to do a wide leg forward fold. And the blankets under the knees just helps, of course, your knees to bend. So there's not as much hamstring focus as there is internal groin focus. If you don't need the blankets, you can straighten your legs all the way out. Nancy Weber, I know that's you. That's okay. That's great. And then we're just going to hold this either straight up or folding through the center. I'll start my 2 minutes timer now. So there's a lot of things we can do in this stretch. We can be over one leg and the other. We can do a side bend toward one leg and the other. So with the blankets under the knees, it's a kind of a progression to what we call the turtle pose. Another one of those poses I used to be able to do. Maybe someday I'll be able to do it again. But with the turtle pose, if you're a person who can fold all the way toward the floor, then instead of the blankets, your arms go underneath and you're laying flat on your tummy. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah. Okay, this feels pretty good for my hips. I'm liking this. I can do this. I'm not feeling pain or any semblance of the start of pain, which is kind of what I look for. And pain appears in many different ways. It has different faces, it has different hats. Sometimes it appears in the form of an ache. Sometimes it feels like a burn. Sometimes it's sharp. So we have to listen for all of those different, watch for those different faces of pain and decide what is okay for our body and what's not okay for our body. And I'm just feeling a little stretch. It's really great. Okay, 20 seconds to go in our turtle pose. All right, last breath, everybody. And then we'll close those legs back in. So we did tree pose laying down. We did tree pose sitting. And now we get to try tree pose standing up. So this is going to be balance. So if you need a little wall to support or a chair, I want you to have that and then make your way up to a stand. All right. So this is going to be more akin, of course, to doing tree when we were laying on our back because we don't have any flexion at the hips. So we'll stand up nice and tall. I'm going to actually come over and use the wall. Have my timer ready because we're going to try 2 minutes. Now I know that probably not many of us are going to be able to hold our balance for 2 minutes. So if you come out, just come back in. That's going to be fine. So whatever side you want to stand on first, we're going to find our balance onto that foot and we'll rotate the knee open. Now I still want my hip bones facing this way, so I don't want to start to turn that way on the foot that's on the floor. So we find our range of motion. We can slide the foot up to the inner part of the leg. We don't want to put it on the knee. Not a good thing to push on the knee joint. Okay, 2 minutes, everyone. So if your hand needs to stay there, just use it as little as possible, maybe one finger. It's amazing how much one finger really does help. We can try to let go. So here's where we find our focal point In yoga, it's called the drishti. So it's a place where we're taking our visual attention, something that's not moving, and that helps us to balance. There's a lot of things that can throw off our balance. So where we turn our eyes is one of them. So if you're holding this pretty good, you can challenge yourself by turning your head and looking somewhere else. Then your brain says, what? But that's definitely challenging to change our focal point. Under a minute to go. Now, what I'm feeling mostly is my standing leg hip because it's doing a lot of stabilizing. And that's the most recent hip replacement. So it's going, okay, this is work, but I'm not feeling pain. So I'm going to try to stay here for the last 30 seconds. Is your core engaged? Is your posture good, or are you rounding forward? So standing nice and tall. "15 seconds. One more breath. Ooh, my calf is feeling it too. All right, let's bring it on down. Ooh. Okay, just move a little bit through those legs. And then let's try the other side. So this is my harder side to balance on my right foot. Let's stop the timer. Find your position with your knee out. And 2 minutes begins now. Now, I kind of naturally turn my toes out a little bit. It's just what I default to, probably as a kid being a ballet dancer and a gymnast. But I find since this knee's turned out, it kind of balances my body if I turn out a little bit on the other foot. So that helps me balance a little bit. So instead of having a parallel standing foot, if I turn it out just a little bit, it does help me balance. So that's called a pro tip. Pro tip of the day. Turn your foot out a little bit. Okay, so if this is pretty rock solid, maybe we try looking somewhere else. I'm just needing that one finger on the wall. It is so good, so helpful. I don't know, I think sometimes it's just in our mind. As soon as we take the finger away, we go, I can't do it. 45 seconds. You can also kind of engage the bent knee glute in the back, almost like you're doing a PNF where you're trying to open that knee by firing that muscle. 30 seconds. How's your standing leg doing? The muscles of your ankle and lower leg as well. They should be really firing. Stand a little taller for me. Reach up, 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 up. 15 seconds. Be proud of who you are today, where you are today. One more breath. And we'll come out of our tree pose. Very nicely done. All right, let's finish our practice with just some gentle movement of the spine, but with our legs wide. So this gives us a little bit of opening through our hips. And we'll reach up and stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Now just lower that arm down. We're going to bend this right knee out to the side, stretching a little bit here through your inner groin and thigh. And then just shift to the other side, stretching here. That's a little tight, tender area for me right there. Let's do one of those on each side to go. And switch. Back to the center. Bend both knees. Slightly push out. So you've got your hands on the inner thighs a little bit. Drop the right shoulder down and look over your left. Then inhale as you come back up through the center. Exhale, drop your left shoulder down, look over your right. And I'm kind of using this hand to slightly press, gently press my knee open. We'll do one more of those on each side. And reverse. And back into the center. So maybe you can start to drop your chest down a little more. And this is like a happy baby standing on your feet. Now, if you can't get all the way down, that's what we can use our block for. So this is a nice little hip opener. Lower back stretch. You can keep your knees bent like a happy baby. Or if you want to make it more into your hamstrings, straighten your legs up any amount and hold that fold. Then walk your hands back to your knees or your thighs. Round your back as you roll up one vertebra at a time. Finishing with a deep breath in, stretch. And press the palms to the heart. The light and the happiness and joy and the flexibility in my hips bows down with honor to the light, happiness, joy, and flexibility in the hips of all of you. Namaste. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. If you get a chance, I'd love a little message from you since we can't chit-chat today, just to let me know how all of that felt for you. If not, we can visit next Tuesday in our chit-chat after class. So I hope to see you Tuesday. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day.